everyone. Good evening.
So today's topic of discussion is how to use Vastu to increase your focus. I've invited today's guest. Her name is Savi Barolia, and she is an architect turned Vastu expert. Hi, Savi.
Hi Tanya, how are you?
I am good, Savi. How was your day today?
Very busy, to be honest.
So that's great. At least, when we keep ourselves busy and productive, that's when we enjoy our lives the most. So
Definitely.
now, Savi, we have six participants here. So let's welcome them. And let me introduce our guest for today. Her name is Savi Barolia, and she is an architect turned Vastu expert. Over the last two years, she has helped over 1,700 families with the Vastu consultation. And she's going to tell us more about herself and the work she does. So, Sabi, welcome to this platform.
Thank you so much for having me here, Tanya. And I've so been looking forward to this, and we've been talking about this in so many days. I'm so excited that it's finally happening today. Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for joining in.
Great, great. So, Savi, let's start with our discussion. I have a couple of questions ready with me because even I wanted to know what exact work do you do as a Vastu consultant and how do you help people? So, the topic that we have chosen for today is how can Vastu increase our focus? It could be for everyone. It could be for working professionals like us when we are working from home, or it could be for children who are studying at home. So, Savi, my first question is how does Vastu work?
So, just to give you an example, Tanya, to make you understand how Vastu really works. Okay, so the basis of Vastu is on directions, right? It's on directions. Let me ask you a question. Let's say you have a headache, okay? And what is the first thing you're going to do if you have a headache? You're going to Google something that, okay, which medicine should I take? Maybe I should just eat a crocin or something, right? You may be Googling something, or you'll just pop in one medicine. But what happens if you actually, there's a possibility that may or may not solve your problem, right? Depending on why that headache was occurring. Let's say you took a headache medicine, but the headache was actually happening because you did not eat anything since morning. But you took a medicine for the head, but it's not going to act on your body because you've not put the right medicine in your body. Similarly, Vastu works on direction. So every direction of your house is related to one aspect of your life. So when we talk about studies, so for example, sitting in a particular location, it can give you focus study. Whereas sitting in a particular location, no matter how hard you try, be it you study or be it you work, you will either be on your phone or you will constantly keep doing time pass. You won't be able to work at all. So similarly, that's how Vastu works.
Okay, so it works on the basis of directions and.
Directions.
Okay, curious to know more. So, Savi, the next question that I have, and I'm sure people would relate to it, those who all are watching, is Vastu guidance only during the house construction, or can it happen even after the house is constructed? After many years, you can guide your clients.
See, normally the normal notion is that you go for a Vastu consultation when you have like either a major problem in life or when you're constructing the house. That's the normal notion. But the thing is, Vastu can help in very small everyday activities as well. For example, the way you place your furniture in the house matters a lot. Okay, so for example, if you sleep on this side or that side versus if you sit at this corner in the room or that corner of the room, that will, your productivity will reflect from where you're actually sitting or how you've placed your furniture. So even by doing minor furniture layout changes, you can get amazing results. Be it, you're not able to get a job, you're not feeling productive, you feel too stressed during the day, be it anything, even your interiors matter a lot as per Vastu. So it's not like you just need to have a big problem or only while building a new house you have to get it done. If you're facing any problem, it can help for a lot of other things.
Okay. And Savi, what about the financial problems, like major financial problems?
Yeah, so for example, your debts are increasing. Okay, day by day, they're just increasing. Since the time you move to a new place, they're just increasing, and you can't understand why that's happening. Or maybe you're into business and you feel that, okay, every time my payment is supposed to come in, why does it get delayed? It should come, right when I raise the invoice. But then it keeps getting delayed. You get clients, but they're not converting. So, all of multiple types of money problem, Vastu can help with that.
Okay. Okay. So, Savi, how do you guide the clients? Like, can you give an example of a major financial problem that a person can have, and like, how long does it take for them to overcome using the Vastu consultation?
Let's take an example that, okay, if somebody is feeling that the payments are not coming through, their payments are getting stuck, or their money is getting stuck. Okay, so that problem usually occurs when there, like I said, every direction is related to some aspect of your life. So for this particular problem, it is the southeast direction that needs to be checked in your house. So once an expert checks the southeast direction in your house, he or she will be able to guide you that, okay, what is it that is incorrect over there. Like for example, I had one client. In his case, they renovated the house, and since then they had been facing that problem. Okay, so when I checked the house, they did not do any construction changes. They just revamped the interiors and the color schemes. Nowadays, you would have seen that gray is one of the most in color for interiors. And while doing that, what they did is their southeast had a living area, and they changed their existing color scheme to gray. So what happened? Southeast direction, if you have gray over there, it'll start causing delays of payments in your life. So which is what was happening in that case. So that's basically how depending on your problem, I can guide you as to what you need to change in your house or what can be altered slightly, and you can get amazing results.
Okay, that's nice. Using the case study, I could understand it better. Before I move to the next question, Savi, that's a question from Varun158. And he asked that is Vastu different for every individual? So even I had this question for you, so I thought let's address it right now.
Yeah. So, for example, let's say if I am telling you, Tanya, depending on your profession, that okay, I have to build a home office for you. Okay, that will be different than, let's say, if I'm designing for your sister who might be into some other profession. So, depending on profession, the suggestion changes. Similarly, for example, if we talk about bedrooms, if you are somebody who takes a lot of stress in your work, and when you go to bed you just want to relax, okay, so for you I would suggest that, okay, you have a south bedroom so that as soon as you go over there you can relax, versus let's say if somebody is there who is constantly feeling lazy throughout the day and he actually wants more energy. Okay, so but if that person then sleeps in south, it'll make him look more lazy. So then in that case, I need to see. So depending on your problem, it's just like medical, right? If you're facing a problem, the same medicine may or may not work for you that has worked for somebody else. So depending on your particular problem, if you do a remedy as per your problem, that's when you get the most benefits. So yes, it varies from person to person.
So, Savi, my question is that I am doing XYZ profession right now, and after a few years, I changed to ABC, and I have a particular office. So, as per Vastu consultation, that my title has changed or my profession has changed. Does my office need any kind of changes in terms of Vastu?
Like for example, if you were into, let's say, a corporate job before, let's say you were a lawyer before, okay, so if you were a lawyer, then your home office direction will be different because your everyday activities are different, versus now, since you are into consulting, you are talking to teenagers mostly, you want to sit in a place that can help you with these conversations, that can help you with having good effective productive conversations. So shifting it might help. But then again, it depends on where your current place is. If that is okay, then But yeah.
Okay, got it, got it. So I hope the answer given by Savi is helpful for you, Varun. So thanks for asking that. And
Varun has a question, follow-up question. I live with my wife. Does that also change the Vastu? No, like that does not change the vastu. I would say, if for example, obviously it's not one person who lives in the house, it's the entire family, right? So depending on the entire family and depending on your existing house, whatever best layout is possible is what is suggested by a professional. Obviously you cannot have 5 different houses for 5 different family members, right? But to make the best use of your existing house is what I help with.
So I'll move on to my third question from you, Savi. How did you get into Vastu from being an architect before?
Okay, so that's a very long story, but I'll try to keep it short. So until 2020, I actually never believed in Vastu. And in fact, if you talk to anybody from an architecture background, they usually don't believe in Vastu because it's not even something that's taught in colleges. But when I got married in 2020, my family believed in Vastu, and that's when I, developed an interest towards it. That okay, maybe there is something. And because my clients constantly wanted me to design as per Vastu, I was like, okay, let me just study about this in detail. It'll just help me skill up myself as an architect. But then when I got into the field and when I started applying things in my own life, then I did some free case studies for people around me, like around 50 free case studies for my relatives, whoever I could find, whoever I could help. And when they came back and they told me that, okay, we've been feeling a result, we've been feeling a change, we've been feeling better, is when I realized the true potential of this science. And I was like, this is much deeper because I can help people elevate their lives, which is a much stronger purpose than just being an architect. So that's where the shift happened.
Okay, that's interesting. And you worked on 56 case studies, right? Initially, when you started.
Yeah, over 53 case studies initially before I started off.
Okay, Savi. So the next thing that I want to ask you is what is needed for an online Vastu consultation and what kind of changes are needed by any individual?
Okay, so to go for a virtual Vastu consultation, which is like an online consultation, so no matter where you live, you can opt for a Vastu guidance. You just need 3 simple things. You need one, a floor plan of your house. So if in case you live in an apartment, you can easily get it through the society website. The second thing you need is a Google map location of your house, which again, I'm sure everybody uses Google Maps, so they can just pin their house over there. And the third thing you need is that you are ready, a mindset that yes, you want to elevate your life, you're done with the problems and you really want to elevate your life, is when you can opt for a virtual Vastu guidance. And for the next part of your question, you said
what changes are needed?
What changes? So out of these 1700 plus clients that I've done, there were, I would say, about 70% of the clients were where they were either living in a rented house or in an apartment. So in those cases, you can understand that no construction changes are possible at all. And specifically, if that apartment is rented, then so nothing can be done. And I've had a lot of clients from Dubai and other places as well. So unlike India, their rules are much more strict. So you can't even nail on a wall and things like that. So even in those cases, just by realigning furniture in your house, just by keeping things in the right place in your house, people have got amazing results. So even that can be like just by shifting, relocating, changing the color of the curtain and things like that, you can get really good results.
Okay, that's interesting. Got to know something new today. Okay. Okay, one thing I would like to know that if a location is good to study or work, will it be good for everyone? Because I want to study and my siblings also want to study. So is it the same for both of us? Because the ultimate goal is to increase our focus.
Right. So if your problem area is similar, right? Because see, it majorly depends on your problem. If your problem is that, okay, I want better focus, then there's one direction. But if the other person's main agenda is no, I want to increase my grasping power, I want to learn faster. So then there needs to be a change. But at the same time, if there are times that okay, you're living in an apartment, you cannot have 5 study desks, you have to manage with one. So even in that case, you can have one ideal study desk which can be beneficial for both. That's also possible.
Okay. Savi, the next thing that I want to ask you is, How can people be more productive? Either they are studying or they're working from home, using some quick Vastu tips that you would like to share with everyone in order to improve their focus and productivity.
See, like, apart from the technical things, the basic errors that I usually find around people's work desk or study desk is, first, they if it is their education certificates, education documents, or if you're working, if you are into a job, your papers, important papers. A lot of times I've asked clients, okay, where is your kids' education document kept? And they're like, that this cupboard, that bed. They don't even remember. So these are the set of papers that are actually very important for you if you're studying or if you're working somewhere. So you can't just keep it anywhere. You have to keep them properly always. You can't mess with them, basically. So keep them very properly. That's the first thing. Second thing is, usually when like, I am a stationery holder, so I love having a lot of stationery. But a lot of times when your pen stops working, or something stops working, you avoid, or you just miss throwing it out, right? You just let it be in your drawer, which again becomes a place of catching negativity. So if something is not working, or any papers that you don't want, don't keep unnecessary clutter around you. Clear up. The more you clear up, the regularly you clear up, the better it is going to be. And the third thing that I would suggest is, so because nowadays you have so many gadgets, you obviously have a lot of chargers and a lot of wires. So again, in the home office or study desk, around these spaces, avoid having a clutter of wires. Keep them properly, arrange them properly, avoid having them in a cluttered condition. So even that is going to help you with getting the right productivity and positive vibes while you're working.
Okay, okay. Great. And anything specifically regarding the tablets and the laptops that we use? We have talked about the wires and chargers. Anything specifically for the gadgets?
Gadgets, like, can you just elaborate on that?
Okay, so if I have maybe two laptops, one of them I use regularly, and it seems to give like a good turnaround time, and the other one I use very little, just in case of backup. Does that also happen some sort of productivity, like if you just speak from a Vastu perspective?
No, the thing is, if we talk about gadgets, and if you're using a laptop, a lot of times I see people, as soon as they open up their screen, they have like a screen full of, things on the desktop. So again, declutter, like the basis of Vastu. Like, even, like, I'll tell you, Tanya, even tomorrow, if you build a Vastu compliant house and you say, every 100% it's Vastu compliant, and you've consulted me, let's say, and we say that it's 100% Vastu compliant. And once you start living over there, let's say you keep a lot of clutter everywhere. So even the good Vastu is not going to help you, because the clutter is going to spoil the vibes of the place. So declutter, it's very underrated, but it is very important as per Vastu.
Yes. Okay. Thanks, Savi. So, Savi, I was asking that these tips are applicable also for our office, especially when we are not self-employed, or when we are not an entrepreneur, but we are working for someone. In that case, it will work.
Definitely.
Okay. Does wardrobe with black clothes in Southeast zone also affects as having block payment issue cash crunch?
Ashmita, it depends on what we're looking at. See, if you say that you have a wardrobe in Southeast, you will have clothes of all colors over there, right? It's not like your wardrobe is just black color, unless you're a lawyer, of course, that you have all your coats. But you cannot say that one piece of cloth that you have in your cupboard is causing this problem. If you're facing a problem with stuck payments, then there must be some other issue with your Southeast direction. Maybe it's not the color of the clothes inside, maybe it's around that area, maybe you have a seepage around that area, maybe you have something else. Basically, maybe you have any green, gray or blue colored things in that corner of the house. Check for those things. But it cannot be that you have 5 pairs of black clothes in that house, in that cupboard. That alone cannot be the reason for this problem.
Thank you, Savi, for answering that. And I'll ask the last question, and then we'll go on to. We have two, three more questions from the audience. Does the place where someone sits to work or study really matter? And how important is the direction in which a person who is sitting or studying or working matters?
Okay, so there are two things. Okay, one is where you sit with respect to the house where you're sitting, and the other aspect is which side you're facing. So while sitting, you're facing this side, that side, which side you're facing. Like I said, that your if you want a medicine for headache, okay, if you eat a medicine for headache, but your problem was because of the stomach, then that medicine is not going to help you, right? Similarly, if let's say you are sitting in a direction which is meant to chill and relax, if you sit and work over there, what is going to happen? You'll either fall asleep or you will keep chilling on your phone, right? So no matter
Yeah.
which direction you face, if you're sitting over there, no matter which direction you face, you're still going to either sleep or keep chilling, right? So it is more important to check which direction exactly to sit while studying. I hope that's not getting too technical.
Yeah.
Okay,
No, no,
so
that
but
okay.
in order to understand this, because Vastu in general, like I mentioned earlier, people think that you have to have big problems, and that's when you should go for Vastu. And it is also something that's like a taboo in the society for some reason, that okay, you cannot tell anybody that you're getting a Vastu guidance. What is the problem in your life that you need a Vastu
Yeah.
guidance? Stuff like
Yeah.
that, right? Which is why after doing so many cases, I realized that one thing people underestimate a lot is where the child is sitting and studying, and they keep cursing either the education system or their tutors or the kid that okay, you need to study, but they don't try to understand that okay, the place where you have given your child to sit and study, that place is not good for your child, which is why he's not able to study well. And this is
Yeah.
exactly why I'm conducting these weekly webinars where I am teaching that okay, in your particular house, how can you orient, or how can you place your study desk in the right position depending on your child's major problem. So I call this a tailor-made interior Vastu formula, because it is designed specifically for your child's problem. This formula is designed specifically that in your house, what is the best place. Suppose I tell you one direction and you go and check that, okay, that's the kitchen in my house. How do I sit in the kitchen in my house? You anyway won't feel focused. So which is why I elaborate on all of these topics in my webinars. If anybody wants to sign up for the upcoming one, you can check my profile and there's a link over there, so you can check out more details about this webinar. I conduct it weekly, so you can sign up for the next one.
Okay, great, Savi. And I hope that everybody has heard about, if you want to sign up for her webinar, you can go to her profile and you'll find the section to enroll for it. So, okay, we have one more question, Savi. It is from Deepak. Is it wrong to have red color in decoration at northeast side of the house?
See, it depends. There are two things. Okay, in Northeast, so one thing, when we say decoration, it can mean you have the entire wall as a red wallpaper. Okay, so then Northeast red is not very good. It is not suggested. So if you have your entire wall as a red wall in the Northeast, please do not have it, because it is constantly going to cause misunderstandings in the family, confusion. You won't understand that okay, should I take left or right? You always remain confused. Okay, but when we talk about red, I think from the context in which you might be asking, because Northeast is also one particular direction where people usually keep their temples, and in their temples you usually have a red cloth, maybe for the temple or for the mandir base, you use a red cloth. If you're using it that way, then it is okay. Otherwise, as a decor, major purpose like red flowers and things like that, try to avoid that in the Northeast.
Okay, that was a great explanation, Sabi. I also learned something new here. So thank you, Deepak, for asking this question. So we have one question from Pratima. So her ID is Sugary Prats. So she's
Yeah.
asking, is there a particular direction where mirror should not be placed? She's asking if she's planning a new house decor where the mirror
Okay.
should not be placed.
Pratima, I would suggest, see, if you're using you would have mirrors in all your bathrooms. That is there for sure. You cannot have a sink without a mirror. Okay. In that case, what we suggest is we suggest a color of the frame that you need to use for a particular bathroom. That's a sort of a remedy that we do. Another option is like few places where you should definitely avoid is the southwest corner of your house and the southeast corner of your house. These are two places where, try to avoid mirror as much as possible. If your dressing table or something is coming over there, maybe it's coming in the room area, then maybe you can have it inside the cupboard and not, visible from outside. So you open the door and then you have the mirror probably, and not visible in the southwest and southeast corner. Try to avoid that.
That's interesting. Again, something new that I learned. So thank you for answering that, Savi. Ashmita has one more question: where to keep newspapers and reading stuff?
Ashmita, that depends on the layout of your house, because see, for example, if I tell you one particular direction that, okay, let's say keep it in the south, okay, but then that south direction is coming in your master bedroom. But newspapers and these reading stuff, you usually do it in your living area, right? So it wouldn't make sense to keep the newspapers in a different place and use it somewhere else. So unless I look at your floor plan, look at your house, I won't be able to suggest you where exactly, because it needs to be practical also. That's because I have an architecture background. In all my suggestions, I cannot tell you anything that that might end up looking bad in your house, because aesthetics is also important. When you're doing your house, and if it's a new house, it needs to be a right mix of aesthetics, vastu, and functionality. Even like a balance of three is needed. Everything you can't achieve, but you have to have the right balance of these three to have the right set in your hand. Yeah.
So, Savi, would you like to, if we don't have any further questions, what would you like to tell our audience today who has taken out their precious time and has gone through the entire conversation today? Anything that you would like to say
First
while
of all,
that?
thank you all so much for joining in and watching us and giving your time. Thank you so much. Two tips I would like to give: that irrespective of the technical knowledge of Vastu, what you should definitely check in your house that might be causing you a problem if you're facing any trouble. First is because as winter is starting to come in, and I am sure a lot of your audience is also from Mumbai and Bangalore, and we know that the rain situations over there, which is why it's very common to have seepage corners in the houses. And if you are facing a particular problem in your life right now, the first thing you need to go and check is if you have any seepage in your house, get it fixed right away, because there's so many cases I've seen that they're facing a problem just because of that seepage in the house. So if you're facing a problem, clean up the seepage right away. And second, another important tip for people who live in bungalows specifically, a lot of times you have this storeroom in your house which always remains cluttered. Then we need to understand that any corner of your house, if you keep it cluttered, it is going to become a corner for attracting negative vibes. So which is why even if it is your storeroom, make sure that you keep your things arranged properly in cupboards and not openly spread out like that. It should be good enough so that somebody can sweep the floor even in that room every day. It should be as clean as that. So the more clean, declutter that you keep your house away from seepage. These are the two very powerful tips. You might think that it's very small, but try these tips. If you have these two things in your house, try it, and you see within 15 days you'll see that the problem that you're facing with right now will go.
Wow, that's a very nice one. Thank you, Savi. Okay, Savi, so we don't have further questions. And I would like to thank you for giving such insightful information. And thank you to all the people who asked a lot of questions, because whatever I prepare, I could prepare it from my own point of view.
Thank you all so much. Thank you, Tanya, for having me. It was wonderful interacting, very interactive audience, wonderful interacting with all of you. If you still have further questions with regards to Vastu or anything, you can check my profile or you can just DM me. I'll be able to help you further. And thank you so much for watching. I hope this was helpful, and do try the tips that I suggested. Declutter your house, your storerooms, and seepage. Get rid of the seepage, and you will see within 15 days, you will see something positive starting to begin in your life.
Wonderful, wonderful. I'll immediately check this. Thank you. Thank you so much. So, guys, please follow her page, and she posts some amazing reels and video content. And do message her if you need any kind of help. And she's also conducting a webinar every week related to how we can improve our focus. So, what's the topic of that webinar? Saudi, would you like to tell everyone again?
Yeah. The topic of the webinar is how can you increase focus while studying, or whatever your major problem is. If your child is unable to, like he reads but he forgets every time he goes to his exams, or if your child wants to prepare for IIT versus if your child wants to prepare for medical, where should he sit? So all of these I will be discussing in detail. I'll be telling you the technical stuff as simply as I can in a 1.5 hour masterclass. So do come in and join if this is something that troubles you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Savi, and thank you, everyone. Thanks, Pratama, and thanks to all who joined. And it's because of the audience that we make the session interactive, and you all made our day. So thank you so much.
Thank you
And
so much, everybody.
I wish you a great evening, everyone. Thank you so much. Enjoy your day. Thanks, Savi.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.